Hello, how are you today? Do you want to dive into a book that might just surprise you? Whether it becomes your next favorite or one you might skip? Let's find out what readers are saying about it.
Jennifer Brown, who has 380 likes, says, "So boring. Too many people to keep track of. Some with multiple names. Jumping timeline that confuses you as welly was hoping the end would have shocked me but negative. I was annoyed. I could summarize it in a few paragraphs. Not hours of reading spoilers. Alice is depressed and over-medicated. Asks her 8-year-old bear to take a ride in a boat. A storm comes. Boat capsized with boy in it. He passes. The family covers it up. Blames someone else for killing the boy. They have another kid. A girl, Brenda. She's not bear, so they treat her like garbage. She goes to the local camp. She goes missing. Lots of detective work. Blah, blah. The detective is new and a woman, so nobody trusts or listens to her. She has 3 names you have to keep straight. Jumping back and forth with timelines. The men are rich jerks. The wives are oppressed and belittled. There's a murderer who escaped prison on the loose. I was hoping he would do something. Nope. He has 2 names too. End of the story. The detective figures out Brenda is alive and living in the woods. She escaped her awful family who thinks she's fat. The detective wants her to stay happy so she doesn't tell anyone. The end. Don't read it. Melissa Bantering Books, who has 167 likes, says, "I lost hours of sleep because of The God of the Woods. Liz Moore's latest mystery is so gripping. So absorbing that no matter how tired I was at night, I chose the book over my bed whenever I picked it up to read. In it, Moore gives us 2 mysteries to be solved. Set 14 years apart in the Adirondack Mountains. The disappearance of a brother and sister from the Van Laar family preserve and the adjacent camp. Emerson. Bear Van Laar is the first to go missing, disappearing from the family estate in 1961. With Barbara then vanishing from the camp in 1975, there's a lot of jumping back and forth in time as Moore unwinds both stories, while also switching between character viewpoints. It's not difficult to keep up with her, though, because both of the story threads and the respective players in each are distinct. Plus, there's a handy timeline at the beginning of each chapter, which helps to keep your footing in the story. It's a genius addition, really, though I found both mysteries compelling. I can see why some reviewers are saying they lost interest in the second half. There's a noticeable downshift in action that occurs when the story transforms into more of a family saga. But it's a short-lived blip because Moore then kicks back into high gear for the final act, with the book becoming unputdownable once again. The God of the Woods isn't perfect, but, for me, it's one of the best books I've read this year. Moore's writing is excellent, the story is propulsive, and the narrative is plotted so well. There are other small nitpicks I can point out, like how the end of Barbara's story feels abrupt and almost like wishful thinking, because I am not sure if what happens would have really happened in real life. But I found the conclusion satisfying, nonetheless. So I'll take it. Brend, who has 1,530 likes, says, "Not gonna lie, they really had me on the first half. First 10% actually. Writing style, ambiance, all good. Then it lost me. I didn't care about anyone. Let her be lost. Let all of them be lost. Actually, I'll just go take a nap at one of the other cabins." Yun, who has 3,436 likes, says, "Okay. Lots of thoughts on this one. Going to try to unpack them all here. The God of the Woods starts out really well. I found the beginning to be compelling, with lots of interesting characters and perspectives. But then as the investigation into Barbara's disappearance heats up, a few things started to really bother me, and it went a bit downhill from there. When it comes to verbosity in a book, readers generally fall into 2 camps. For some, if they love a story, then stretching it out an extra 100 pages by filling it with lots of beautiful writing, but no additional content makes it even better. But for me, my motto is always shorter is better. And fluffing it out to pad the page count doesn't do it for me. So you see where I am going with this. What starts out as compelling quickly turns meandering for me. The longer the story went on, the more unfocused it seemed. There are a lot of perspectives in here. I count 7, and every time something was about to happen, we immediately switched to a different perspective, effectively losing the momentum. And when we come back to the original one, the exciting scene had already happened off page and it's mostly glossed over. But it isn't just the perspectives, which I honestly don't mind that much. It's also how unnecessarily convoluted the mystery was, in large part due to the way it was written. Every time the police needed to talk to a witness, that person would inevitably end up missing. So we would have to spend time tracking them down just to have a conversation with them. In addition to the 2 disappearances which are central to this story, I counted no less than 6 other characters who disappeared at one time or another. It was exhausting. Surely though, once these witnesses are found, they would be able to answer some simple questions, right? Well, no. Everyone in here lied every chance they had, often for no reason that I could discern and against their best interests. It felt like drama for drama's sake, making the mystery feel even more tortuous and chaotic. You know, just in case the reader thought it was too easy or there weren't enough pages in this book, my other big issue is that the author has a real knack for writing dumb female characters. It drove me a bit nuts in Long Bright River, and here it is again. This time, we have Alice and Louise, 2 of our main characters, both being portrayed as spineless fools. You guys know I love my female characters to be strong and smart. So to have to read about women who let people walk all over them while making one bad decision after another got old real quick. Then after all of that, almost 500 pages, this mystery had to be one of the most unsatisfying I've ever come across. Clues were laid out seemingly to point to one direction or another. But then the story disregards almost everything it had said before and ends on something completely different. And some of the clues were never addressed at all, as if they've served their purpose to mislead us and now we can just forget about them. Still, for all my complaints, I did find this to be a fairly engrossing read. There were many moments I got really into it, and the pages just melted away. But there were also many moments where I could not believe yet another character has disappeared, or Alice and Louise are yet again being dumb and weak. And I could just feel my eyeballs rolling around in exasperation. Clearly I am in the minority here. Everyone else is loving this. So you shouldn't take what I say too seriously. Sometimes there is just a mismatch between a reader and a book. And that's probably what happened here. See also my thoughts on Long Bright River. Connect with me Instagram. This was a pic from my BOTM box. Get your first book for $5 here. Brady Lockerbie, who has 534 likes, says, finally, worth almost 500 pages? No, but I am glad I pushed through and finished. A mystery at a summer camp was exactly what I needed to finish out my summer reading. If you DNFD, you can read the last like 15 to 25 pages to see how it ends, ish lol.